history is like your own life. It's good and it's bad. There are ups and there are downs, and there's failure and there's success. I think you lose much more than you win. I think it's about 5-1 against. But I know when I'm down, I know I'm going to get back up again. Every shot down is, you learn from it. And it's not like you won't make that mistake again. You do, you keep making the same mistakes over and over. And that's really with dealing with people. But to be a witness to a lot, you know, it was fun. I grew up in the war. The Second World War. We got bombed a few nights in Glasgow. And and it made me, I wanted to get to the center of things, and that's what photojournalism is. Pictures should make sense of what is going on. If you look at my photography, you see that very few of it is posed. That doesn't mean to say I've told somebody to get into a position, as you see that with Nixon, but this is where he said he liked to stand. I wasn't conscious I was covering history. I was just doing stories I was sent on and got close to. I got close to people. I was always good at getting close to people, because I worked in London Fleet Street, and you had to produce. You couldn't come back and say, well, I didn't feel like it today, or something didn't work. You'd find yourself not working. And I didn't think about all the years ago that I was going to do books and do this. I never thought about anything other than, at that time, staying on the payroll at the end of the week was having a job. But this was basically London Fleet Street, where all the newspaper were. So when I did eventually come to America, I worked in America a lot for London Daily Express, but when I eventually came to work for Life, it was like a dude ranch in comparison. And so were these fashion magazines. I often thought about going into fashion, especially when I worked in French Vogue way back in the very early 70s. But I'm glad I didn't, because all I would have now is pictures of girls with pretty dresses. That's all gets dated. No, I was glad. Basically I was doing the civil rights, the race riots. I photographed every American president since Eisenhower. That's a lot. Some I was closer to than others. Everyone up to our President Obama. I was next to Bobby Kennedy when he was shot. There was photographers who wouldn't do it. They ran away from it and they were appalled that I did it. But I would have been appalled with myself if I hadn't have photographed it. Now what is interesting enough is, every year I have dinner with Ethel Kennedy. She knows exactly who I am. She knows I took these photographs of a murdered husband. You know, it's not pleasant, but to say the least. But my job is not to editorialize and saying, "Oh, I can't give that to you, Ian." No. So it just vanishes into space. So if you haven't taken it, the picture nothing exists except words. And words lie. Reporters lie. Photographs don't lie. There is a photograph. This is the truth. You can't get any better. It's. I always say that when there's something I want to see the photograph. That's it. It's the truth. That's it. Mind you, what they're doing now with all their Photoshop and all that, you don't know. And that could cause a lot of problems. But I don't do it. And Tilly knows I don't do it. My poor angel dog. Oh, my favourite photograph, the most important one is the Beatles having a pillow fight. Now, for one reason I like it, well, it meant that picture meant I was coming to America. That's a big reason. With the Beatles, and about 2 weeks after that was taken. It's dealing with basically the icons of the 60s. And they're the picture of them with Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay. These are two of the greatest icons of the 20th century. I think Muhammad Ali was the greatest black man that ever lived. He stopped the war, and I'm not going to war. And that was like 2 years before Martin Luther King said it. And then they got a lot of white guys saying, if he wouldn't go, we're not going. Right. And that stopped the war. And why I like spontaneity, and in that picture's got movement. And with a movement in a picture, you look twice. And you look back the second time to see if they've all collapsed on the bed or a pile on the floor. Do you know what I mean? But in the studio, that cannot happen. And you know that. You can come back and take a look at, well, that's a nice dress, a nice thing, and she's a pretty girl. But she hasn't moved. She's stayed there for eternity. But when the picture's got spontaneity and movement, it's gone forever. It's vanished. But you've caught it. There's what do you call him? An IRA guy in the fields in Ireland. A minute from then, he was no longer there. He was away somewhere else. He was moving. And don't look at other photographers' work. I certainly don't. I don't consider their studio stuff or stuff they might have done with, say, a princess or something like that. They're nice, but it's not reality. Talk about the pictures I like the pictures of the little boys in the fountain in Glasgow. I took in 1956. It's a long time ago, My business in photography. You're still waiting for your finest moments. And it doesn't happen with fine moment. It takes building and building. After I'd taken the pillow fight, the Daily Express didn't tell me to go and have a great big dinner in some fancy Paris restaurant. No, they said to me, "What have you got for me today?" And that was, well, they're going here and going there, fine, you know. You know, that's the business. It's strange though, because the older I've got, probably the more insecure I got. I wasn't sure if it was good or not. Yet when I was young and 50 years ago, you know, who cares, you know, you're kind of rough about it, you know, but I don't think there's any, I've never gotten myself up and thinking myself to be special and this is that. No, it's like any day you can make a fool of yourself. You can really not produce or not get it, or like on a story where you missed it. But I've always thought in photography, if it was on a story, if you work hard, you wait long, you'll eventually get it.